Why I like to save the goats? That's a question I have often been asking myself, because I can't answer it. This is somehow my mission, to take care of the goats. Somebody had to do it, and I fell in love with them. My name is Jóhanna Bergmann Þorvaldsdóttir, and I'm a goat farmer in Iceland. For the last 16 years, I have been trying to build up and protect our goat breed. They have been isolated in Iceland for 1100 years. They came by the Vikings from Norway and from Scotland and Ireland. The Icelandic goat has twice been less than 100 animals. In 1962, there was just about 60-70 goats left. They have been in a very big danger of both inbreeding and disappearing. I got them here, and since then it has been my passion to breed up this type of the goats. This is the only farm we are trying to live from the goats, to milk them and make products. If you are trying to save a breed, you have to use what they give. We have been doing a lot of different things to raise attention for the goats. When Game of Thrones was shooting here, 20 of the goats were used. They would not be here anymore if I wouldn't have taken care of them. I'm very proud to look at my flocks and see that they are alive because of my work. It's just like when you have children, you are proud of them. I'm very proud of my goats.
Catching the fish is definitely the biggest element. Favorite part is always the take. You know, when the fish takes the fly, adrenaline just goes off. Just casting, minding your own business, and all of a sudden, boom! You know, that's a lot of fun. We're at Tungufljót, which is a sea trout river on the south coast of Iceland. This river is known for very big fish. I think it's because of all the glaciers, and this is fairly new geologically, all this part of the country. It's fun being fishing in this kind of weather. Once you have your first fish, it starts to be a lot more about the nature, the river, the company. And being outside, getting away from your normal life, really. Doing something else for 2 or 3 days or a week. That's what it's all about, you know. Fly fishing offers a never-ending journey, so to speak. Although it sounds a cliche, you're never gonna master it. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much time you spend doing it, you're never ever gonna master it.
Siggi Ron Hilmarsson is an Icelandic baker with an unconventional oven. He bakes bread by burying it underground, where it's heated for 24 hours by nearby hot springs.
It's very common to see hot springs here in Iceland. There is constant lava crawling under us. This lava is heating up water, and this water comes boiling up on the surface. We could put it in the oven, but this is much more fun.
Iceland is one of the most volcanic regions in the world, with 30 active volcanoes at any one time. That helps create an abundance of hot springs, some with boiling hot water, and Siggi uses them to his advantage. He specializes in baking húfubrauð, a traditional Icelandic rye bread recipe that dates back hundreds of years.
I know for sure that in this village, I can track it down as far as late 1800 something. My grandmother taught my mother how to bake this bread, and my mother taught me. In the hot spring rye bread recipe, we have rye, flour, sugar, baking powder, salt, and milk. We put this in a pot. We put butter in the pot. Then we wrap it with plastic foil and we put it down in our hot spring hole for 24 hours. It's very obvious to see if the ground is hot or not. I never use a thermometer. If I need to check the heat, I just use this one. Our biggest challenge is rain. If it rains a lot, these holes that we are using can cool down. And if they are not hot enough, obviously the bread doesn't bake completely. Everybody eats our bread. Our visitors, the locals, hot spring rye bread has a unique taste that you don't get from ovens. The texture of this bread is quite special. It's quite heavy. It's not the typical light bread. When you show this to travelers that come to Iceland and you see their faces, they go, wow. Then you start to think that this is quite amazing actually.
Known as the land of fire and ice, Iceland is an island of extremes, where people wage a relentless war against the elements.
It's seriously unpredictable weather. It's basically like a battle zone of different high pressure, low pressure areas. Anything can happen.
Dangerous conditions mean people can find themselves in serious trouble and in need of rescue. But there's a problem. The small country has no army or government program to help. So citizens formed the Icelandic Search and Rescue Team, known as IceSAR, a national emergency force. They're everyday people willing to risk their lives to save others in the worst conditions imaginable.
You're going out in the conditions when everyone else is supposed to be inside. So you have to be a little bit crazy, but in a good way.
IceSAR is a community of volunteers that responds to calls for help all year round in Iceland. I think to take part in IceSAR, you just have to be willing to put forward the skills that you have. I sometimes consider a rescue team like a village. You need every kind of person to make everything work.
I think it's kind of amazing because it's all volunteers. We have professors, taxi drivers, carpenters, plumbers, office workers, just name it, men and women, all kind of people. It's very hard to imagine Iceland without our association and our teams.
Iceland's breathtaking landscape attracts tourists and adventure seekers from all over the world. But that beauty can lure people to a false sense of security.
The weather conditions can change faster than anything else. You can have a sunny day, and in 2 minutes it's a storm. Wind, rain, even snow in the summertime.
People are just going for a hike and they're pretty confident that the mountain that they're going on is not dangerous. We have the lower glaciers, which have become quite a popular tourist attraction, and people are going for walks on these, and they are full of crevasses, extremely dangerous, super slippery, and then they fall over and hurt themselves. Then they have to rely on search and rescue to come and find them.
For average citizens to gain the skills needed to be part of IceSAR, they go through a rigorous 18-month training program. They learn mountaineering, climbing, and orienteering.
It takes a huge skill set, but when you can't deal with any weather, then you can go out and help people.
Across the whole country, I think our teams get 4.5 call-outs per day. And our people, they're running from their own work or their family to join the team.
When I get called out, we have 3 codes. It's F1, high priority, life in stake. F2, not as high priority, and F3 easygoing. When you get called out high priority and you get your text and it says a child, then your heart goes pounding almost out of your chest and you run out. I don't even say goodbye to my children or wife. I can remember one call, a boy got lost in Selfoss. All I could think about was my son. If he got lost, I would like to have everyone helping. So a lot of emotions comes up when you get called out.
I'm proud of the unity and the fact that people are willing to sacrifice their spare time to help others.
The feeling that I get when we rescue someone, it doesn't have to be me that finds the person. It can be another group searching somewhere else, but we're searching for the same person. When someone gets found, you get this wellness feeling. We did something right.
They are heroes in so many ways, but in Icelandic culture, we don't do a lot of hero talk.
No, I'm not a hero. I'm just a part of a team.
I'm not a hero, no. I'm just a normal person.
I'm very proud of the association and what they have accomplished. They've saved a lot of lives.
Adventure photographer Chris Burkhardt is an expert in photographing surfers riding the coldest, most punishing waves on the planet. He's accustomed to battling the elements in his work, but one storm in Iceland nearly broke him.
It was like Armageddon. We had basically just been, totally beaten to shreds. I mean, it was total darkness.
The storm canceled Burkhardt's expedition, but the decision to stay in Iceland resulted in a once-in-a-lifetime photographic opportunity that he never expected.
Dude, this is it right here.
He managed to capture an epic adventure under the greatest light show on Earth.
If you look at the Northern Lights and you don't question your place in the world, then there's something dead inside you.
I can't believe that has happened.
I grew up kind of frolicking along the coast here in Central California. I would drive up the coast and try to surf with my friends in these remote little beaches and stuff. And to be honest, that really set the precedent for me that I wanted to just go explore. I first picked up a camera right around the age of, I think, 18, 19. I realized this was it. This was the perfect medium for expression. This was as good as it could get. When I grew up, I didn't have a passport, never traveled internationally, and as I realized that photography could be this tool to see the world, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it, this could be my ticket.
After years of photographing in stunning beach towns around the world, Burkhardt decided to shift his focus to colder climates.
I had the dream job, and then I realized that I want to document places that might not be around forever. I want to share the experience of the importance of seeing these places, because I want people to know that these places are out there. There's been a lot of 0-degree days, a lot of days where you're standing on the beach or shooting somewhere on a mountainside and your organs are hurting because it's so cold, and you're touching metal equipment and your hands are just getting brittle and cracked. It's type 2 fun, you look back and you chuckle, but in the moment it's pretty brutal. You want to be somewhere else. My work has taken me to some of the harshest environments on the planet, and I seek out some of the last places on Earth where you can really find these raw environments.
Of all the places he's been, one trip to Iceland pushed him closest to his breaking point. What started off as a trip to photograph epic waves became an epic battle with the elements.
This last winter, during the darkest and coldest time of year, we set out to Iceland. I didn't really have any idea of how it would go. There was this one location, this remote national park that I wanted to go access. All I knew is that there was a boat captain that was willing to take us there. We finally made it to that remote bay, this national park. We're sitting there in the boat and we're looking at this wave. It was everything we had hoped for. The captain came out and said that the largest storm in 25 years was coming right now. And we literally had to turn and hightail out of there back to the harbor. The weather changed like that. And it was like Armageddon. People were just like getting food storage and stocking up. All the flights were grounded, so we made this decision that we were gonna drive 11 hours to the next safe town so we don't come home empty-handed. We were all just defeated, but still knew there was like something else out there for us, and we just knew that we wanted to play it out. That was probably not the smartest call. We weren't where we originally planned. We were like forced to stay a little bit longer. And after that storm subsided, we realized that with that storm brought incredible surf. And not only that, but the Northern Lights are out. If the weather could just hold off for that much longer, this would be something that would be in the history books. I convinced one of the guys to go out. The hardest thing was just keeping my focus. What I was seeing, was these amazing patterns of blue and orange and red and green, trickling in the sky.
This is maybe one of the most insane things I've ever seen in my life.
So every so often I'd get lost just staring at the sky, and somebody would holler and I would look and see him, and I'd be like, okay, here it is.
There we go, Ben, someone's going.
You're just shivering, you're sitting there, you're kind of like basically going through all the emotions. But for me, anything worth pursuing is gonna require you to suffer a little bit.
Oh, we did it! I can't believe that I actually got you to go out there.
Through all that, we came away with this experience that was actually far better than anything we could have ever planned for. It changed everything I thought about what was possible. I aim nothing more than to simply just document the beauty of the world. If a photograph that somebody sees is powerful enough to make them go somewhere they've never been, be outside of their comfort zone, spend their time, that's what I speak to, is like how we can do that more. I guess we want to just inspire future generations to be willing to thrust themselves into situations like that, be willing to go when everything else says not to. Even when all the odds are stacked against you, you can still create something beautiful.
It's very different from every other collection in the world. And if you're a collector at heart, you can't really stop. My name is Hjörtur Sigurðsson. I'm the curator and owner of the Icelandic Phallological Museum. My father was giving a dried bull penis a pistol back in 1974 as a joke, and that somehow sparked the idea, to start collect these things. All the lights are made from scrotum skins. Right now we have 285 different specimens. It's still growing, the collection. We get maybe 3 to 5 every year. The most fascinating thing is the diversity. There are huge differences in size, shapes, color, etc. Here is the biggest specimens we have is a sperm whale. It's about 70 kilos, maybe 150 pounds. And here is one of my favorites, the walrus one. The hardest to get was the human one, no question about that. He was 95 when he died, so the specimen is a bit shrunken, It's what age does to people, everything shrinks. But we're hopeful we'll get a better example soon. People say, they are just happy because they realize that there's nothing lewd here, there's no pornography. It's just, education and fun.